Hi, wonderful listeners. We are tuning into humanity on this fantastic inaugural episode of the incredible year at the Rodeo, that's the Rotary Club of Deonar, Chembur Mumbai, India. When we get on air to bring you, watch out, not individuals, we bring you the angels, the amazing Rotarians of this fantastic Rotary Club called as the Rodeos. This is Rodeo Suresh Menon on this exciting humane radio rodeo alongside the podcast expert, the radio friend, Piyush Bhatia, the podcaster on a mission to reach out to the beliefs and convictions behind the noble voices. Piyush, hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Suresh. On this exciting radio rodeo show, I'm so excited to be a medium for enabling message of humanness and the uniqueness of fascinating rodeos to reach out and touch the heart across the globe.
Fantastic. It's incredible, right? So on behalf of the president of this fantastic club called the Incredible Year, Sangeeta Shani, we're going live on air right now. And whom do I see? I saw this very, very reclusive, cool and calm. And listeners, you can't see any of them. But I have the fortune along with Piyush to see these fantastic angels. We can hear their voices. I have the pleasure of introducing Rotarian Narendra Kalra, chartered accountant, 26 years at the club, founder conveyor of the Chembur CA Study Circle, president of the Chembur Colony Yuva Mandal, running the RTT Kadani School for the differently abled, the hearing impaired kids, a trustee in the Kalani Mandal Girls College. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you, sir, on this radio rodeo.
Thank you, Suresh.
Thank you, sir. And we move on to this personification of sweetness. None other than Dr. Rotarian, sweet Shankar Chawla, homeopathic physician, MD in homeopathy, the postgraduate in preventive health from Apollo Hospitals, diploma in palliative care, 39 years in practice, Rotarian since 96, all of 27 years. He is absolutely committed to the NGOs, Spandan Institute for the last 30 years, Chembur Arya Samaj for 20 years, a honorary physician there at the Chembur Arya Samaj, an acupuncturist and a lifestyle consultant. A pleasure and an honor and a privilege, Dr. Chanda, to have you on the show.
Thank you, Suresh.
Superb, sir. Thank you. I go on and I'm going to get this name. I have the tongue twister from this time I'm going to get it right. Jaisal JC. I got it right, Jaisal?
Yes.
Thank you. So here is this guy, chartered accountant, 5 years rodeo. And you know what? Listen to this. Alumni of Harvard Business School, someone who did his diploma in sports sciences, speaker on so many seminars on subjects of finance and leadership. He's got his company which is into different financial verticals, and this is where I stay away from him because he's also a fraud detector. So I don't want him to catch on me, so I'm going to keep away because he's a very able fraud detector. All of that. Are you for real, Jason?
Thank you, Suresh, for the wonderful introduction. I feel privileged to be part of this inaugural edition of Radio Rodeos.
Thank you, Jason. Really appreciate this. And we now go to these very perplexed looking, all of 7 feet gentlemen. So here is Shanmukha Vaidyanathan, the Shan of the Rotary Club of Deonar. He's been somebody who graduated from kindergarten to the graduation here. He was a road tractor for 8 years, 1988 onwards, and for the last 13 years, he's been a Rotarian to the club, an electronic engineer, as a graduate from the IIM Lucknow, 25 years in sales, marketing, building business strategies, especially the healthcare domain in US and India. He's been a quintessential sales guy who is not somebody who pushes, but somebody who creates a pull. He's been every time the man to go to in everything that we do at the club, every time. Consulting firm called Morphalaxis. I got it right, Sean? Thank you. I do well. It's transformation of family health business organizations for growth and modernization. That's what the company says. Welcome on board this wonderful show, Sean.
Suresh?
Thank you, Suresh. Glad to be here.
So, thank you, Sean. Yes, Piyush?
Yes,
You are excited?
Yeah, I'm excited, but I think you missed out. The listeners are very eager to know that this Rotary Club, where is it located?
Wow, it's like missing out the hello, right? Rotary Club of Deonar, Chembur, Mumbai, in this fantastic country called India. That's where we come from, the Rotary Club, right? Piyush, we're good to go?
Good to go.
Very distinguished. Are we feeling nervous?
No, I'm feeling excited.
Yeah, I'm feeling like unreal. You know what? The angels are sitting in front of us. Piyush, all yours.
Okay, we'll start with Kalraji. Kalraji, would you like to share about your experiences in Rotary in short?
I joined Rotary in 1987. And since then, there are we made a lot of friendships around there. Because the fellowship is the main pillar of the Rotary meetings and all. And I enjoyed being part of Rotary organization. While doing the fellowship, we were also carrying out
The various projects that you did, I mean, there are so
the
many.
various projects for the less fortunate people, students and handicapped students. I enjoyed every part of it.
Which one stands out, sir? Which project did you feel, you really feel?
When,
Close your eyes.
I was president during the year 2000-2001, where I took up the main project as a I camp. Every month there was one I camp, and during my entire period of 12 months, we did about 650 cataract operations, and we went to various schools and did eye checkup for students. We covered around 6,000 students in Chembur area.
In a single year?
In a single year, yes.
So many visions corrected in one single year.
Correct.
Absolutely. Really phenomenal stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else which you feel you can really inspire? Because these are selfless services which keeps on happening.
Our Rotary Club is undertaking polio corrective surgeries, burns, operations, and heart operations with Reliance, with the help of Reliance, and so many other medical projects. We are proud of it.
Thank you so much, Kalraji, for really giving that perspective and really focusing on different aspects of human upliftment and care and all of that. Really appreciate it. When you said what you said, it really opened up that the realness of the entire project came up in front of us when you explained right from the eye care to the heart to the skin care and all of that. We really could relive those moments, and we feel that this is something that we should keep on going on doing.
Yes, I agree with you. We should keep on doing this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Piyush, really, really heartwarming, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's listen in from Dr. Shankar Chawla about his project in Rotary. Okay, let's listen in from Dr. Shankar Chawla about his favorite project in Rodeo or couple of projects and his experiences.
Thank you, Piyush, and thank you, Suresh. So being in a healthcare, so I would relate the projects which are covered, by our club. So I'm going to say that in late 90s and early 20s, there was huge pandemic of HIV and AIDS, So our club decided to have a project on that because that is the only thing that we can do is to prevent HIV and AIDS. And we had a challenge that, and especially Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra were the states which were in India were the most affected. So what we did was we had to have somebody from the government to help us. So we had a collaboration with MDAC, we had collaboration with KM, and we had a collaboration with local NGO. And we got trained, and then we started a van. Van in the sense it's a bus, it's a full-fledged bus in the slums of Govandi. This Govandi area, I'm talking about 23 years back, when it was really slums, and we were there in the projects and we participated in the project. So the project team consists of the homeopathic doctors and we had a counselor, trained counselor, and one psychologist and a social worker. So what happened when the van was delivered to us and the huge, HIV, AIDS was written, and we were supposed to screen the high-risk patients, high-risk population, so that we can identify and prevent them. So the big challenge came is nobody wants to enter into that bus. Now this bus has what, inside the bus there are two cabins, which is good for examination and for having a counseling session. And we had a small, another table for removing the blood and other things. But nobody enters, and we homeopaths were just sitting there and doing nothing. So a 1 week passed, So we decided, let's do something else. So we started an homeopathic OPD there, free homeopathic OPD, and we covered that HIV and started with the general practice. That if you have a cough, cold, if you have any chronic disease. So what happened? The ladies, the children started pouring in, and along with that, we got the spouses, coming in. So during that particular phase, we broke that ice, and that's how you could see that we were able to screen. Gradually, we found a good rapport. Within 3 to 6 weeks, there we were able to penetrate the right way to, give them the understanding to prevent, how to prevent HIV, AIDS, and identify in the sense early. Try to see asymptomatic. Now they were not so happy with their, doing the blood test. So there was a counselor who used to, guide and give. So if you look at the HIV and AIDS in today, it's far less. And in those days, the antivirals were very expensive, very expensive, and they were newer drugs. Now, today we know HIV and antivirals has worked wonders for these population. So the message is that if you make the right effort for preventing such a disease which is really very drastic in terms of individual and family, and the only prevention is available to you. So this project became so successful that we were there for 1.5 years, and then we continued for 2 more years in the same area, and we could succeed in identifying so many of them with HIV and AIDS.
Fantastic, Shaman. It's like, what do I say, Piyush? In terms of service, when Dr. Chawla narrated the entire journey, what came across to me was the collaboration with government, with NGOs, the mission with a purpose, a strategy of when you said that you went into non-HIV and went into normal care in terms of opening an OPD and all of that. So many aspects go behind getting into the mission of charity. Right? It's not about having only a mission or a purpose or a passion. It's important to strategize and really implement to really reach the downtrodden. Am I correct?
Yeah, I would like to add, so if I tell you the conditions that we work, it's first stinking, because we are working in the dumping ground, real dumping ground, stinking. Second, we have so big flies, which were biting us. So initially I didn't know, so first day I went with my half shirt, and it was really distinct. And it is so dusty because there are no roads. So the kind of dust that accumulates, and most important, we were in afternoon sessions. So the heat of it in that bus with the tin, having it was something which is still in my memories. How we went on with those particular conditions and brought in. When you walk down to the streets, you can't walk straight because there is excreta. So you have to, the hip has to more bending. Yeah, so this is how the conditions in which the work went on in those times. I hope this Dr. Usha Desai remembers, and our DG Bharat had come to inaugurate that particular event. You were also there at one of it. Yes.
And these inspiring words we have got the wonderful listeners.
We joined at the same day.
So wonderful listeners, what you could see as a pause that you got, and the whisper that you got here is because so many fellow senior Rotarians here watching this show at the Bombay Presidency Golf Club when the recording happens really could cherish the memories of those days when they went out, and we could see nostalgia in their eyes, in their voices, and that's exactly here. I'm getting goosebumps, Dr. Chawla. Thank you so much for being such an angel to humanity as all the other Rotarians. Thank you, sir. Over to you, Jason. Right?
So, Rotarian Jesse, would you like to share one of the project which is very close to your heart or something that you are very passionate about in Rodeo?
Thank you, Piyush. I have had many memorable experiences in Rotary in the last 5 years. But one event and one memory which will always stay with me is dates back to somewhere in October 2019. Our club was supporting a project called Crushing Little Hearts, where we support the pediatric cardiac surgeries of children who are born with congenital heart defects. These are the children who would otherwise be left to die because the treatment is quite expensive, and children from the less privileged families find it very difficult to have access to this treatment. So we have this, I was quite new in Rotary and I was representing a club at Rotary Hospital. And Natasha, who's the interface between Rotary and the hospital, told me, Jason, there is a child who's waiting to be discharged. Would you like to see that child? I said, of course, why not? And she told me the child was operated when the child was just 2 hours old. The child had a defect called tetralogy of Fallot, which is, the child is having at least 4 to 6 defects which are life-threatening to the heart. And when I went there and I held the child in my hand, the child was just 2 weeks old, not yet named, and the child was completely okay. The child would have been left to die. But imagine the power of Rotary that we could save a life. And holding a child who was born into glory, which would have otherwise passed away, and you see the pleasure, the immense joy on the face of the parents. I have no words to describe the joy, and that is one memory which is always going to be there with me. It has inspired me, and this has now become a flagship project for us. I would also like to share with you all that all the Rotary clubs in Mumbai till date have supported almost 3,200 surgeries at an investment of about 32 crores. And anyone who's listening into this podcast, if you'd like to support this cause, would like to strengthen our hands, you're most welcome to join in with us. There are many more other memorable such events, but to pick it up at a later date.
So, Jason, and then wonderful listeners, when I really heard Jason speaking about touching little hearts and about this baby, unnamed baby, who actually came into the world, which was not supposed to be, and the parent, I could see in him when he was holding his palm, as holding the baby's gentle body, you could see that quiver around that spine, when the baby was really up there, the heart beating, and you could see that life really adorning our world. And Jason, when you said what you said, more than your words, I could sense it in your expression as to what that moment was all about. Really, really thank you. I feel fortunate for having seen you while answering this particular question. Thank you so much. I'm sure podcasters, this is an amazing journey when you're really, really touching hearts. So if you are looking at all of this wonderful Rotarians, you could see a lot of medical projects coming up, but these are all wonderful Rotarians who do multiple projects in terms of international services, vocational, non-medical, medical, international relationships, memberships, and so on and so forth. PR. So these are all Rotarians who do multiple aspects of their role across the years. But I think what's closest to them is when lives are touched and you really get lives changed, improved, lives reborn. That's what you could see this on the show right now. Thank you, Jason, for really being so impactful in terms of addressing all of us. And I'm sure we look forward to hear more about the wonderful projects that happens in the Rotary Club of Deonar. Thank you. And over to the one and only Shanmukha. Oh, Piyush is great. He's really going to use the word Shanmukha Vaidyanathan? Yeah. No, I think you should just say Shan.
Yeah. So, let's listen in. Shanmukhanand has been waiting since long, and we are eager to listen to him about his experiences, his favorite project in Rodeo. So, over to you, Shanmukha. Shanmukha?
No, Piyush. You tried second time, and this time you knew to say only one thing. You should say, hey Shan, tell about a memorable experience.
Hey Shan, tell about your memorable experience.
There have been quite a few. So the top projects that I am able to think of, I'll just take a minute to call out what defines the work that we do in Rotary. Number one, there is a very high degree of focus. We don't do random acts of charity. We do projects which are attuned to various avenues of service. We are either doing community projects towards medical service or non-medical service. We do vocational service, international service, youth. So we have a lot of focus, a very, very strong sense of direction, and this is consistent across all the Rotary clubs in the world.
Wonderful.
Yeah. The second bit is because there is so much of focus, we are able to bring in scale. Rotary led the world in eradicating polio. We have a few stray cases in Pakistan and probably one more country, but they are less than 10.
And that's very well known.
Yeah. So there are so many stories that all of us can talk to you about when it came to polio pulse program. Of late we had COVID. In our club we have a lady, we call her COVID experience, as a matter of fact. Our club we have, we supported about 20,000 people in and around Chembur, Deonar, Govandi area during the COVID period. The surgeries that Jaisal and Narendra Kalra and Shankar Chavla mentioned, there again we are able to bring in very immense amount of scale. So we have done about 950 odd corrective surgeries for burns survivors. We have done about 700-800 odd surgeries for polio patients. We've got another 100 surgeries coming up for the Little Hearts project. Today, the Rotary Club of Deonar has delivered projects wherein the beneficiaries number a little over 1 million.
Oh, wow.
In our 25-26 years of existence. And these go across areas. Apart from medical, there are projects that we have done where we have very good schools. We have resurrected schools, we have modernized schools when it comes to core infrastructure, benches, walls, projectors, computers, digital education. We have done the whole lot. And we do this on a blueprint basis so that we can replicate it. Yeah. So when we have a student who otherwise wouldn't have got education coming and talking to us, not just in terms of making a speech, but using a PowerPoint presentation and talking to us about topics which are very esoteric, we feel so proud of ourselves.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Shan. What we saw is go micro, but also get it, make sure that it is really magnified, right?
Right.
Be micro, but make sure it is scalable. It really has the magnitude. And you said 1 million people touched. It's like such a bizarre, mind-boggling figure. That's the extent. And all done for a lot of fun, a lot of involvement, right? I need to ask this question when you said about the touching so many lives. Jason, I think, looking at Jason, I think I should ask him that question. Service before self. I mean, when I was a non-Rotarian, I think self comes first, service comes later. Why would Rotary have this slogan of service before self? Jason, any thoughts on this?
Very interesting question, Suresh. It's an iconic global motto, service before self, and a powerful driver especially for young minds. If you see it's a compassion which makes you do what you want to do for society without those I, me, and more of me tags. In Rotary, from the Rotary perspective, service before self is where you give a very high pedestal, put service for the community, towards the community, to a very high pedestal. We as Rotarians bring in our professional skills, our business skills, also to serve the community. But the interesting part is that after a period of time, service and self become the same thing. They become mutually inclusive. You take the case of, say, Dr. Chavla, who's not missed a single OPD in the last 20 years especially for the needy. There's not missed a single OPD. You take the case of Kulbhushan Jaitley ji or Dr. Usha Desai. They've done immense work for eradication of polio. But even today, you see the spark in their eye when we talk of the project. They're there to support the project in its entirety. You take the case of Kannada, so enthusiastic about projects in the Rotary Community Corps. So eventually service and self become parts of the same coin.
Oh, that's a very interesting perspective and wonderful. I'm just going to get back to Jaisal in a moment to help you complete your words. But wonderful listeners, when you heard these wonderful words of Jaitley ji and Usha ji and Kannan and so many of us, these are the angels who are watching this show right now. Somebody really inspires us to run the rodeo movement so fondly and affectionately. That's the name which Jaisal spelled out. We'll meet each one of them through the course of this year on the radio rodeo, month on month, when we will have interactions with these wonderful rodeos on another episode of the podcast. But for now, I go back to Jaisal to let him complete what he was trying to say.
So yes, indeed, service, you put it on a very high pedestal, At the same time, Rotary gives you flexibility where you can have a balance between your home, your work, your profession, and also serving the community. Eventually, you have to be serving the community without any motive, because you feel the need to give back to this community which has given you so much.
Wonderful. You keep each other gently accountable to that mission. And
Oh yes.
thank you, Jason. Wonderful. But I really lost track of time, Piyush, listening to this service before self, and it's part of the same coin on both sides.
Yeah, but we are still on this track, Suresh.
Yes.
Shant, I would like to ask you, could you share with us a specific mission that you pursue in one specific cause in Rodeos?
Currently, a few rodeos and we work to support the projects inside the club with funding. So that helps us.
CSR funding comes?
CSR funding, global grants. So the various.
So global grants, as in Rotary gets global money?
Rotary International has a mechanism through which they provide immense multiplier, and we also get the opportunity to collaborate with clubs in other countries from a funding point of view.
Oh, I see. So projects are not necessarily for only the Rotary Club of Deonar. You could do collaboration.
Correct.
Oh, I see.
So when we look at various proposals, we get to see the sort of value that we are bringing in, because all said and done, whether we are looking at these projects from standpoint of evaluation, or it is the pure joy of doing something that elevates you from merely existing to doing something valuable in the world. So there are quite a few projects that actually fit in that criteria of what you asked, whether it is the rehabilitation of burn survivors, whether it is touching little hearts, whether it is enabling a disadvantaged community. We have done a few projects involving transgender. We are trying to do a few projects involving women who are disadvantaged. There's actually a project where we are enabling women to get trained, get certified, get that little triangular badge, and drive their own autos.
Oh.
So the idea is to get them to not fish but learn how to fish.
Oh.
Yeah. So there are several projects that fit your criteria. So, but almost every project that we do a very careful need analysis, benefit analysis. So almost everything that we do, apart from the partying that we do, we fit in very strongly with what we do.
So Rotary and Rotarian partying, and that leads to this question which Mr. Kalra said when he started off saying fellowship. So partying is the other word for fellowship, I think. I mean, why would fellowship be so important in a Rotary club, Rotary Kalra?
The backbone of Rotary is fellowship. Without fellowship, the main thing is when we come together in a meeting, people just chit chat, sit around, have a good time with each other and discuss about the various projects, various situations where ideas come, how to do service to the community, what to do for community. Without discussions, without fellowship, we will not be able to do anything. So that is how important it is that we sit across and discuss, and by this thing personal friendship also increases, where you are otherwise feeling lonely, where whole day we are otherwise busy in our own offices and works. We don't get time to refresh ourselves, to energize ourselves, and fellowship is most important. That is why I say the fellowship is backbone of Rotary.
Wonderful, what an amazing perspective. So, wonderful listeners, as we tune into humanity, we hear from Mr. Kalra, it says, tune in with fellow humans. That's when you can tune into humanity, right, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Knowing that thing is so very important. I go to this thing when looking at the service before self and the importance of fellowship. I want to ask this to Dr. Shankar Chawla. The question is this: when does it strike that it's time to contribute to society? Because everyone would say, I will do it at the right time, right? Time will come. Let me do something in life and I will do it. And is there a right time? When do you get into contributing to society?
Thank you. I think giving is something which we all have, and there is no escape for giving.
That's an interesting word, no escape.
So whether we are breathing or whether we are doing something. So either if you can give it from your heart, I think it is there. But if you don't give, there will be definitely the law which rules on us. We have to pay the price of that, you know. So the contribution should come voluntarily, and it should come very, very spontaneously. I will just relate to you my experience. When I joined Rotary, I wasn't so well off economically. Let me tell you that. So it was told that I should contribute $100. So how do I get my $100? What I did was, I thought, how can I save? How can I save so that I can contribute to the Rotary Foundation? So I had a scooter, you know. So the scooter was such that I used my scooter wherever needed for my shopping, for banking, for whatever purpose. And the car was only used as a profession. So one thing which came out was to save a petrol, to put that amount for contribution. So that was my initial aspect. Of course, now the things have been different. So, you know, we all have grown in Rotary, groomed very well. We became much more skillful, and then, you know, the money comes as a byproduct now. So that was the time that, you know, the contribution value was brought in within us, and that's how, you know, we started. And I still remember our Pitama. He says, you know, if you give 1 rupee, you will get 10. So I'm always greedy, being single, I'm always being greedy. So I followed him, and that's how, you know, this contribution is really very, very, without contribution, I don't think anything can move, you know. And this is very, very important, and giving should come within from your heart.
The right time to give is now, right, sir? Is now. And then they said, when Dr. Shankar Chamla said Pitamaha, we're going to keep it a suspense. We're going to have the Pitamaha on the show shortly. So let it remain Pitamaha. We'll disclose who the Pitamaha is shortly. But when you said what you said, I also relate to the fact that apart from me having fellowship and contributing to the Rotary movement, like you said, Rotary also makes us better human beings, right? Better professionals. They teach us so many aspects that requires us to be personally and professionally better version of ourselves, right, Doctor?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. That's phenomenal words. I mean, I knew one aspect of being a Rotarian, but this really opens up a whole new world. I can see our President Sangeeta Sani nodding, and which you can't see, wonderful listeners. And Alka is saying time is running out, but I'm saying time is not running out. We're really on time, right, Piyush?
Yeah.
So about 4 minutes to go. We go to the last round. Over to you, Piyush. And Piyush, wait. It's been so interesting that if you had not really got your acumen and skill and made us go live like this would have not have happened. This is a picture for all times. This is a sight for us to remember, really. Thank you, Piyush, for being that. But it's not a Thanksgiving. I want to give you the question because you're here for us at least for 1 full year. We need to take care of podcasts for every Rotarian. Is that a promise on air?
Yeah, that's a promise.
Thank you, Piyush. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Suresh, do you realize there are Rotarians and there are to-be Rotarians who are listening to this podcast?
Absolutely.
So I would like to ask, start with...
and there are also Rotarians, to be Rotarians and also families. Rotarians are families?
Yeah.
Rotarian families also?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, you know, I've read somewhere that in this world there are only 2 types of Rotarians. A, who are Rotarians, and B, the remaining ones who are going to be Rotarians one day. Or the family member is going to be Rotarian. So they would definitely have a question and which we would like all of them to answer. We'll ask Jay sir, what is your message to humanitarians?
Like Rotarians and their families also, right?
Okay, yeah.
Rotarians and families. I mean, these are messages which families also need to get.
Indeed. The message to the families is, please keep on supporting the Rotarians. Please keep on supporting your guys with Rotary because they're doing a fantastic job for the community and they're giving back to the community. For the Rotarians who are there, the humanitarians are already serving the community who are doing work for the community. Please keep on doing the good work you're doing. Keep on inspiring young guys, young minds like us. And for the potential Rotarians, what are you waiting for? Take the plunge.
Wonderful. Famous words, Jason. I go on to the same question and give it to Rotarian Kalvan. Ask him, sir, any message for Rotarians, to be Rotarians, and to the families?
Just message for Rotarians is just plunge in and do whatever you can do for the society. There is Almighty who definitely will going to take care of you once you take care of the society.
Thank you very much, Rotarian Kalvan. I go to Rotarian Sweet Chawla. Sorry, sir. Dr. Shankar Chawla, and ask him the same question. Any famous messages? When I say famous, I mean it should really, chunna chahiye unko. Messages are chahiye.
And rodeos are not just to work for human beings. We are working for animals also. We are also working beyond that. So it is not just human beings. Our club is very actively involved with animals. So, yeah. And also now we are looking for the organisms. All these living organisms and including the earth. I think it's one family. One family. And what a rodeo is looking at, what the rodeo wants is harmony, peace, love, and I would say with just few lines, आंचल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले जहाँ गम भी न हो आंसू भी न हो बस प्यार ही प्यार पले आंचल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले जहाँ गम भी न हो आंसू भी न हो बस प्यार ही प्यार पले एक ऐसे गगन के तले एक ऐसे गगन के तले.
Can you hear a crowd clap? So listeners, you know that how many rodeos are there as this first episode of Rodeo Radio is being recorded.
And absolutely such a musical tribute, and I want to request, there's a sister club of Rotary Club of Chembur, which does the tuning folks of doctors, and next tuning folks, Dr. Shankar Chala, you should be up there. First time you sang, you were a singer on the show, live, sir, absolutely sing so well, you touched heart, you touched our real soul. Thank you very much for that wonderful perspective, and over to the Shan of the club. How and what is the message that you would like to give, right, Piyush? What message would you like to give, Piyush? Shan, to the families and to the Rotarians.
Okay.
And you can road factor also, right? Yeah. So, any children of the Rotarians, any message for them to be a road factor?
Okay. The first message to the potential road factors, because somewhere in my head I still consider myself to be more of a road factor than a Rotarian, to be honest. The sort of life experiences you get, the sort of life lessons that one gets to experience and learn, very, very experiential learning. It's simply boundless in the world of Rotary. Okay, as a road tractor, we've been chased by sword-wielding mobs when we went to provide vaccinations to some of the slum areas near Mumbai. Because
as a road tractor, you were chased by sword-wielding mob.
Yep.
Is that as a charity? May everybody look up to you and say, "Come, give me charity"?
No, they were somehow indoctrinated that vaccinations will make their children impotent. So,
So as a road tractor, you had experienced that?
Oh, yeah.
My goodness.
So, I'm not saying that everyone has to undergo extreme cases like that, but that was one of those experiences where, we went back to that community after educating them that this is for their benefit, and then the same people came and took us around and we had this extra dose of warmth. So the fact that when you're looking at people not from the lens of a religion or a community, but as human beings, and what they want from life for themselves, for their families, for their children, okay, and for their communities and for the larger society, you realize that we are not that different after all. Yeah, that's a big learning which brings in a lot of maturity amongst youngsters. as for one of the Rotarians and potential Rotarians, I'll echo what my co-panelists have said. It's all about, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
Connect to the world, right? All about that.
Can I ask you one follow-up question on that? There are also Rotarians who are sitting on the fence, or those who have not joined Rotarians, but they are sitting on the fence. What is one message that you have for them?
Actually, I would have a message more for the administration, saying that, okay, there are Rotarians there, but they're not exactly sitting on the fence, they are still paying dues, they are still attending a few functions here and there, some fellowships and so on. Now, we need to provide enough incentive for them to get involved, because if they've joined Rotary to answer to a calling. People don't join under duress.
So true.
So make sure that we have the avenues for the calling to be consistently
Precisely.
Emphasized upon. Right? Yeah, thank you, Shan, for your absolutely truly poignant words. Piyush, absolutely on. We're going to go off air shortly.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to say this. I think let me pause for a moment and say that as we have the tagline of the show called Tune to Humanity, I could see that we have really plugged in as a rodeo movement into humanity so much that we really have tuned into humanity. The tagline just came off a cuff, but this particular episode really demonstrates that, and it's so important that this movement carries on. It's been a real honor taking this insight from each one of you, and a real honor on behalf of Piyush. And Piyush, I would like to do the honors of thanking each one of them before we go off the air. And as Piyush does that, I would like to thank all the listeners of the show and say that we'll be back next month with another podcast. I will see Vishnuji waving out to us. We'll also get some PTS behind the scene pictures on the podcast, but we will come back month on month with this zeal and the message and the conviction that we have to tune in with humans, with fellow humans, so that we can tune into humanity. So see you next episode, next month, with another wonderful round of 4 angels of Rodeos in this show called Radio Rodeo, and over to Piyush for the Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Dr. Narendra Kalra, for sharing your wisdom and experiences.
So the CA became a doctor on the show.
Right.
Exactly. You can't be so many medical projects.
Yeah.
He can't but be a doctor, right?
Since you're talking about doctors, let me thank Dr. Shankar Chawla for sharing about n number of projects for years that is. Okay. So as you're talking about doctors, let me thank Dr. Shankar Chawla for sharing about n number of projects that is done, the contribution that is done through Rodeo.
Absolutely. And over to you, Jason, to receive our thanks. So here is the chartered accountant who basically really has gone out of his way to touch little hearts. And we thank you for being on the show and inspiring us with those famous words. Thank you, Dr. Shankar Chawla. Thank you, CA Kalra. I was going to say Dr. Kalra, but corrected myself. And thank you, Shan. And probably you could just say thank you on the show and be one time.
Piyush and Suresh, thank you so much for this very novel concept of tuning into humanity. I think we need to reach out to the community, we need to reach out to the people to share our experiences with them, to share what Rotary is all about, give them an insight into Rotary, and provide them an incentive to strengthen our hands by joining Rotary. So, thank you so much for this novel concept.
Yeah, with that, we close. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Bye-bye and see you.